What's up, people? Welcome to your one-stop shop for the biggest wrestling stories this week. This is Wrestling Roundup Weekly. My name is Mex, aka WrestleManiac UK, and I'm alongside my co-host Ignacio. And on today's show, we are talking about the big storyline: Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and everything to do with Crown Jewel. Thursday pay-per-view, Saudi Arabia. We are getting that this week, so that should be very, very interesting. We will also discuss Cody versus Malachi Black 3, which is coming up on Dynamite this week, I believe. Obviously, these guys have been going at it, and long story with Cody and getting him back into wrestling amongst all his other kind of star Hollywood-ish stuff he's doing. So yeah, that should be interesting. And of course, the AEW World Title Tournament, the Eliminator tournament, the brackets, and maybe who we can expect to win that, who will be champion when that person actually wins the tournament as well. And we'll run through our highlights of the week. But before we do, please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to Wrestling Republic right here on YouTube. Ignacio, how have you been?
Pretty good, man. Probably better than I deserve, but feeling pretty good. Just got through watching Dynamite. So there's some good things, some bad things, some ugly things that we'll probably hit on a little bit. I guess the big news for me is, on my part, is that I let you and Ben know this week that I'm going to be live November 13th at Full Gear in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm excited about that. And I'll be live for Rampage also the night before. So Wrestling Republic is actually going to have somebody live at the event, not like any counterparts like your Uncle Dave Meltzer, who gets the information third hand, or that desk jockey, Brian Alvarez, who relies on third, fourth hand information. We're going to have somebody live there reporting on the actual news and events that happens.
Live in the flesh. Couldn't get it any better. So yeah, maybe we'll get some scoops from you the following week. But that's amazing. So yeah, like Ignacio said, live in the flesh at Full Gear, which is the next big stop for AEW. Now, before we get there, we have this little thing, like I said, at the top of the show, Cody versus Malachi Black. Let's talk about it, because this is number 3. On Dynamite, you would have seen this promo where Cody, or this segment where Cody was training. He was in Dustin's wrestling school, and he was training against all the Nightmare Family people. Guys and girls were sticking it on him, telling him, you've changed. You're not, the guy that we kind of bought into. You're off doing, the TV and all of the mainstream kind of stuff right now. And Arn was calling out certain wrestling moves, and, he had to defend himself and dodge them and all that kind of stuff. Extensive training that Cody was being put through. And now we've seen, despite there's been no interaction between Cody and Malachi Black since his last defeat, now we've seen this match. We just got it again. What's your whole thoughts on this program in general? And is this is it a necessary step to go back to this match, do you think?
Well, it depends on the end game and where they plan to go from it, because I like the story, even though there's been some hiccups here and there with it. It's good. I think it's exposed Malachi Black to be legitimate, right? For those of you who probably weren't too familiar with him and so much in WWE, because he was on fire for a while, and then they kind of held him down. And then, of course, they were building up to where it seemed like he was going to be a major player, or at least try to make some sort of impact, and then they released him, right? So he comes to AEW. He's beat Cody 2 times in a row. The first time he beat him in 3 minutes. The second time, I love the finish of the second match with the mist. I think that was a great touch. They could have done it a little bit better or went another way, but it was good. So I think overall, anything really Cody has been involved in, I'm a real proponent of Cody Rhodes. It's been a good story, and of course some hiccups here and there, but I don't see anything. Malachi Black's already over with the crowd already. Yeah. So the only thing I think that this match can give us is an avenue of where Cody can go from here, which if it's anything other than a heel turn, it's a mistake, because the crowd is already turned on Cody already. So now is the best time more than ever for him to make that big heel turn. He's got one of the biggest heels of the 80s for wrestling traditionalist, Arn Anderson, there to give him the mean streak and be the mouthpiece, the coach that he has been. So anything other than him becoming a heel, it's just a third match and getting Malachi Black over again, maybe catapulting him to the top. But for Cody, that's the best avenue I think they should take. If he did it, then him and Brandy would be the best heels in the business then, because they could come out and say, I came out and we built this wrestling empire for you. We gave you what you wanted. You want an alternative. We gave it to you. Me and Tony Khan, I'm a EVP. I gave you what you wanted, and now you're turning your back on me. You're booing on me. You're booing us. You won't watch my fucking reality show. That sucks. and you know, now I'm an EVP, so you know what? In so many words, fuck you then. I said I'm turning my back on you. I said I'm not going to challenge for the world heavyweight title anymore. Well, fuck you. Yes, I am.
I'm going to do it, yeah.
Then I'm going to do it because I'm an EVP and I have stroke here. In so many words, of course. But I think that's what they should do. And if it doesn't lead to that, then it's just a waste of time.
I agree with you. I think this has to be them, obviously, and they've been very good at it, seeing what the crowd wants, seeing what the crowd are into, turning him heel. This is the point. You've got a good opportunity to do it right here. And everything you said in terms of you basically just booked the entire way it should be done and what should happen. Him going back on his word of the AEW world title. We'll come to speak about this in just a bit, but imagine like a Hangman as champion and Cody takes it off Hangman. Like that is crazy heat, but just what Cody should do in this. I even love the fact you mentioned Brandy, because Brandy is someone that is kind of disliked as well by the mainstream or by the main fans. So she could definitely play into this as well. So yeah, it's got to be the next step. Is there a fear though through that Malachi Black tweener? Is he tweener babyface from there, or what do you think? Or he's just not affected?
I think first of all, Cody needs to lose the match, right?
Yeah,
and that'll catapult it into the heel turn. But no, people like him because he's different. Because he's different from anybody else on the show. And I think it was when he first came into to AEW, was it Booker T or something that made some sort of disparaging comments in reference to he's not different, he's kind of the same or something to that effect.
He wouldn't put it past me as Booker T.
He's different from everybody else. He's more legitimate and realistic than anybody else that was probably on WWE TV at the time or SmackDown or what have you, other than Roman Reigns. But yeah, he's different. But no, I don't think it'll affect negatively on Malachi Black in any way. It'll probably just make him more popular, catapult him more into a more top spot, right? But and then Cody Rhodes posted something on social media a week back or 2 weeks back that he quit wrestling before he goes heel. You can't trust what any of these fuckers say on social media. So I mean, if it's gonna be the best, I believe that Cody's a team player, and whatever's best for the business and the company, then that's what he's gonna do. Because he's an officer in that company. I think he's gonna believe what's best for that company. I think the best thing for them to do right now is turn him heel, because he would instantaneously be the number one heel in that company and the business probably.
I agree. And I think especially where it looks like Kenny Omega probably drops the title. Kenny Omega probably takes a bit of a rest. Cody can come into that place as top heel, because Omega would be right now top heel, but he's more funny and goofy than heel, like, you know, straight, you know, bastard sort of thing. So yeah, if Cody comes in and does that, and you know, I'm guessing you've seen, you know, the times when he was in New Japan and his heel run then, like, I've got a lot of faith that Cody can do a very good job in this position. But like you said, they have to just take this opportunity and pull the trigger.
Well, because he takes his job fucking seriously, and he'll be a serious heel, a believable heel, because the fans are already gravitating toward the story. The fans are leading to what they want. They're leading you to the story. Just take it to them. It's like you said, Kenny Omega, he's a fucking goofball. And for the most part, when he's not with his friends, when he takes his job seriously, he's good. But they're morons. They're idiots. So get a serious heel in there. and you know, legitimize that type of position as the top heel, and he'll do great. The fans are already leading you there. It's whether they want to go or not. So
yeah. Okay, so yeah, that is you know, a match they announced off the back of that vignette segment. Obviously Malachi Black was in action, had a really good match this past week with Dante Martin. Paid some respect to Dante Martin after beating him as well. So yeah, looking forward to Cody versus Malachi Black. Even more so, looking forward to the heel turn that we hope follows. Let's move on though. Let's talk about the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. They've let us know about the 8 names involved. A mix of top of the card guys and then guys, in my opinion, that probably shouldn't be in this tournament. Just some kind of middle of the road names, I would say, like Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston to a degree. Will Hobbs, is good to see him get the opportunity, but it's like, is he a contender in most people's eyes at this point? Orange Cassidy, who always seems to pop up and get an opportunity when these things come around. I just wasn't filled with, you know, right, this is a big tournament, some big names in it. And of course, the tournament's quite small, only 8 people. What was your initial thoughts when you saw the bracket?
Kind of the same idea, but it's just like, you know, to me, it was like the first thing that popped in my head was where's Miro? You know,
yes.
Where's Miro?
Yeah.
I mean, he just had this big, long, undefeated streak as the champion, and they said, well, fuck, he got beat by Sammy. They're not big on rematches, which is kind of something that kind of bothers me. You can do rematches, right? Because if there's a right story behind them, and you can do, because the whole if you see it in boxing and UFC and other legitimate combat sports, you know, the champion gets a rematch, and if you do it right, it's good.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but so okay, so we're not going to give him a rematch at the TNT title. Let's put him in the Eliminator tournament, which it's not. And not only that, it kind of negates the ranking system that they have, right?
Yeah,
it negates the ranking system they have. Why don't they go by the ranking system? How many of these guys are in the top 5? I didn't check it this week, right? But I mean, I think Cassidy was actually in there 2 weeks ago, but and Moxley, might have been in there, but you know, you look at the brackets, you know where you're going, at least in my opinion. And in my opinion, it's going to be Moxley and Daniel Bryanson at the end, which is going to be a weird contrast in styles. Am I right? As far as Daniel Bryan being the wrestling purist and then Moxley being the fucking macho king, right? So it's going to be kind of weird. And looking at it at its surface, if they're going to go there, which I think 90%, there's a 99% chance that it looks like that's where they're going, unless there's some shenanigans in there.
Yeah.
But you know, Daniel Bryan is Daniel Bryan, and Moxley, when he gets serious, he can go too. So it should be a good match on the surface. But sometimes there comes a point where 2 talents meet and they're both great, and the chemistry just isn't there. And I'm afraid that if that happens, if this matchup happens, Bryan Danielson and Moxley, I'm afraid there's a chance of that happening. That both of their styles are just going to clash, and they're not going to have the chemistry.
I mean, possibly. Everything you've said makes sense, but I'm sure these guys are, you know, they're very experienced. So I wouldn't expect that to be an issue that us watching can tell that, you know, they're struggling in the ring together. Again, that's my predicted final, Moxley and Danielson. And I think, again, this could be an opportunity to maybe turn Mox heel, if that's what they're possibly leaning towards. However, I still think it will be a Danielson win, which then leads me on to, and the other name I was remembering that's in that tournament, which is like, Dustin Rhodes. It's like, I don't know the last time I saw Dustin wrestle. Well, he wrestled Malachi Black, didn't he? And lost fairly quickly. But I think my next question was, we're gonna get this tournament. Like I say, I predict maybe Danielson to win, but it only makes sense if Danielson wins, to me, if Kenny Omega is still champion after Full Gear, and then we get Danielson versus Omega for the title, leading back to their obviously Arthur Ashe match. Now, do you think Omega's going to face Adam Page at Full Gear? What's your early predictions of who walks out champion, seen as the title eliminator thing is, happening as well?
Well, I'll say this, and we saw Danielson and Omega a few weeks ago. That proved to you that particular matchup doesn't need a championship. Mm-hmm. It survives on its own as a match in itself, just with the talents involved. Because, like I said, everybody knows that Bryan Danielson, the talent he is, and Omega, when he gets serious, he can go. That matchup in itself doesn't need the championship. What I will say is I think in the matchup Full Gear in the main event I think it's going to be a Kenny Omega win, because I just think that the whole thing with Hangman Page, that it's lost its luster already, that there's been too many kind of pauses, stops with him having a child and this and that, and I'm going to go home and play daddy for a while. And I think it's just kind of just lost its luster already. Not only that, CM Punk came in, Bryan Danielson came in, Malachi Black's on fire. It just seems like there's a lot bigger things going on right now than Hangman Page's story. I think if you would have did it 3 months ago, 6 months ago, okay, it would have been the biggest thing in wrestling probably at that point. But now I think it's just kind of lost its luster. I think anything other than doing a Danielson Omega 2 for the title, it's just much ado about nothing. I think just feel like that's where they need to go at this point. I think that's what they need to build to. I think Hangman, he'll have his time. Of course, his time will come again, but it's just too late for him right now. I think it just kind of lost its luster already, lost its flavor.
Yeah, I agree. That the story arc kind of says that Hangman has to beat Kenny for this title. That's what the story says. Like you said, there's been stop and starts and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's not right. They're gonna have to heat it up. They've got like 4 weeks or so maybe to Full Gear. They're gonna definitely have to heat this story back up if that's what they want to do at Full Gear. The history is there, like you said, but right now it's not the hottest of stories. Danielson seems like the correct choice, but then personally, I don't want to see Danielson Omega for the title if Danielson's not going to win the title. I think he has to win the title. If they put him in a championship match against Omega, he has to beat Omega for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying that, like, seeing Danielson and Hangman Page, that'd be interesting too, because that's a little bit of contrasted styles that I don't think they've had too much contact with each other as far as in the ring. I don't know if they've ever wrestled each other before, right? Because Danielson was in WWE for that stretch, and then before that, Hangman was somewhere else or in the Indies or ROH or what have you. But so that would be interesting to see. But I think just anything other than Daniel Bryan coming out with the World Championship to lead this movement that they're doing is a mistake. I've come to learn, watching over the weeks, that not that he won't get a chance shot at the title eventually, but CM Punk's mostly the attraction. And he doesn't need a title match. He doesn't need the title, but he's going to be the attraction guy. And he'll get a title match probably eventually, but he doesn't need the World Championship to draw money, right? But AEW needs a big draw right now. They need somebody to take down the undefeated, 2-year undefeated champion. And I think just the right way to go is Bryan Danielson, because he's got the name recognition. He was in fire in WWE, former world champion, universal champion, main event in WrestleMania, et cetera, et cetera. He's the man they got to go with. Hangman Page will have his day eventually. It's not now.
Take It to the Table, who's also a contributor to Wrestling Republic. Big up Take It to the Table. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He said that it's long-term storytelling. He goes on to say they're building Page to be the face of AEW. You can't rush this stuff. And I understand your angle, bro, but at the same time, I think it's what Ignacio is saying. It's like the fact that they are building Page to have this mantle, to be one of the top guys in AEW. Maybe that's exactly why they shouldn't rush putting the title on him next month. like you can find a way to come back round to Kenny versus Paige, where he triumphs over Kenny. Okay, it may not be for the title at that point, but yeah, if they're gonna put the title on Paige next month, they're gonna have to do a hell of a lot to reheat this story, which obviously went a bit quiet when Paige went away for the birth of his son. Now, yeah, or you just don't touch this story yet. Kenny Omega finds a way to beat Hangman Page again, and then Hangman comes around to it eventually somewhere else down the line and becomes champion. This is the story, like I said, this is the story that they've been telling since day one of AEW. Yeah. So Page will get his opportunity, but this is AEW at the same time. Long-term storytelling is a thing. They've told stories generally very well. Like, the right thing may just be to leave this one for a bit longer. This isn't the time to necessarily pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, because in essence, they can tell two stories here, right? Because everybody kind of has their white buffalo as far as guys that they couldn't beat. Yeah, like for a while, Rock couldn't beat Austin. Austin
at WrestleMania. Yeah,
Triple H had Austin's number for a while. Austin couldn't get around Triple H, etc., etc. So Tommy Dreamer never beat Raven in ECW. If you want to go that route, but it could be like, man, Page just doesn't have Kenny's number. Kenny always beats him, so you can tell that story. They can wrestle another match, non-title. Boom, Page finally beats him. Now, what's Page's next hurdle? He's got to get to the title. That can be his next story.
Yeah.
This shit isn't hard.
There's different ways. There's different ways it can be done. Like Take It to the Table says here, he got a huge pop when he returned. He still got the heat. He does. He literally does. That can't be denied. Like I said, it's not impossible. They put the title on him in November. It's just they're going to have to reheat this story and do it very quickly in the next couple of weeks. So obviously we can just wait and see how this plays out. There's two lines of thoughts. Neither I think are incorrect. It's just whichever road they take. But like I say, if Danielson wins this tournament, he needs to beat Kenny Omega if Kenny Omega is champion.
He needs to beat whoever the champion is.
Yeah. So yeah. Cool. So we got that championship. We got that to look forward to. I think the championship starts next week or this coming Friday on Rampage. But we're going to switch over to the WWE side of things as we do have Crown Jewel this week. Now, in the past, Crown Jewel has seemed like a fake WrestleMania abroad. They've treated it like that. Although it feels like they're trying to make this more important. It feels like they're trying to make Crown Jewel an actual part of the WWE calendar. And they're trying to make things that are happening at Crown Jewel, most importantly, consequential. Before, you're just seeing kind of matches that don't mean nothing, like, Triple H, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker Kane. It doesn't really mean anything. Who cares? These guys aren't even on TV, and you just bring them back for a match. You'll put, AJ Styles. I can't remember. AJ Styles had one match against somebody. Like, it's just absolutely inconsequential stuff. But now it seems like they're really tying it in more with TV. Firstly, what's your thoughts on the Crown Jewel pay-per-view and this effort that they're trying to actually make it consequential?
Well, because I think they got rid of the TLC pay-per-view. They're not having it.
That's correct. In December.
And then did they have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view this year?
They moved it to earlier this year. Yeah.
Yes, because that's when Roman fought Reigns. Roman
fought Rey Mysterio.
Okay. Well, who cares? Because everybody forgot about it. Anyway, they're trying to make it a bigger deal. They stacked the card up. If you want to call it a stacked card, because they put Roman and Lesnar on top, and then they got Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. So they're trying to make it their second WrestleMania show, I guess, or what have you. But if you look at it at its surface, it's got star power in it, right? Because you got Goldberg coming back against Bobby Lashley, and nobody really cares about that storyline because don't know why they keep booking fucking Goldberg. He's gonna kill somebody. He's terrible. Don't they learn? You can look back 20 years ago. Bret Hart ended his career. He almost killed The Undertaker. The fuck?
True.
Anyway, so yeah, I guess they're trying to put some significance on it because they took away the gimmick pay-per-views, TLC, and I wish they would do that more. I wish they would do that with Hell in a Cell also. But then now they got Edge and Seth Rollins, and they booked them in a Hell in a Cell match because the one they did before with Reigns and Mysterio sucked. So they got to make up for it, I guess. And in the feud, look, I'll give them this. They've tried with Seth and Edge to tell a good story, and it's been going on for about a year and a half already, and it's been
hasn't been that long, but yeah.
Well, they started at WrestleMania 36.
In what match? When?
At WrestleMania 36 was it? Oh, that was Edge and Randy Orton. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's been okay. It's Rollins has been on and off with his promos and his character. I don't really get it. I don't think it's the best character for him. They've been trying to build a story. At least they've been putting some effort into it, and it's culminating at Hell in a Cell. And I guess that's all right. Look. The only match I'm really looking forward to is Brock and Reigns. All right, and we'll give our predictions in a minute, I guess. But in context, the pay-per-view, it just is what it is. It's just a stepping stone to get to Survivor Series, which they haven't put very much effort or made any sense of Survivor Series in the past maybe 5 or 6 years. It really isn't really that
longer than that.
Yeah, because Survivor Series used to be the pay-per-view where the title's changing hands. I think for so long the title changed hands at Survivor Series for 7 years in a row or something like that, or at least every other year the title will change hands at a Survivor Series. So you had something to look forward to. Now it's just kind of insignificant now until we get
Raw versus Smackdown.
Yeah,
it's nonsense. Cool. All right, then we're gonna go through the matches on the card for Thursday's pay-per-view, Crown Jewel, and give our predictions. So let's start with this one: Mansour versus Ali. Now they recently split these. They've recently split these two up, to obviously tell this story. I mean, I'll just say straight off the bat. Obviously, we know when it comes to Saudi Arabia, Mansour is John Cena practically. Like he gets everything his way. Okay. So I can assume he's gonna win this match. Ali's been very vocal during the week that whilst they're promoting Crown Jewel, this match was actually not promoted on SmackDown this past week. I think it was. I thought it would have been better to not put Randy Orton and Riddle in another match against AJ Styles and Omos. Put them up against Ali and Mansour for the tag team championships in Saudi Arabia. Let Mansour not necessarily cheat, but do something very smart, very kind of cunning to trick, I don't know, Riddle or someone like that. That way they're playing into the story of, Ali teaching him to be more streetwise. And then Mansour pins Riddle and they become tag team champions in Saudi Arabia. I thought that would be better than just forcing this split and giving them a singles match, which is kind of obvious Mansour probably wins. What do you think?
Well, they won't do that because they wouldn't have done that because it makes too much sense. It would have popped the Saudi crowd and made the prince happy or the king or whatever. And that's a great idea. Not only that because that would have been fuel to the fire to add to the eventual split between Riddle and Randy Orton.
Yes.
And
which needs to happen.
And I'll talk a little bit when we get to that match. I'll talk more on that issue. But yeah, other than that, this match is just much ado about nothing. It's something to please the crowd. What you said would have made more sense. But like I said, it makes too much sense. So why are they going to do it? They could have done something else with them. I think they were doing okay as a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they don't give a shit about tag team wrestling anymore, which is something I'm going to touch up on my comeback article on Wrestling Republic. So be on the lookout for that. it's going to get a lot of heat. I know. Anyway, yeah, I think they would have been just much better as a tag team, and what you said made a lot more sense. So, but like I said, who cares?
They don't like sense. So let's go for it. I'm saying Mansour for the win. You say Mansour as well?
Yeah, it has to be
Mansour win. Right, let's move on to the match you were just mentioning. The tag team championship. Randy Orton and Riddle defending their titles against AJ Styles and Omos. It feels like we've been watching these guys go at it for ages. Randy Orton and Riddle are, like you just previously said, two singles stars carrying tag championships, not necessarily doing tag team things. They're just kind of off on their own stories. But yet they're holding the belts, and now they're putting the belts on the line again against the guys they won it from. What's your prediction here of who's going to walk out as champions?
Well, damn. Whenever I see that, it's like, damn. I can't wait till AJ Styles goes back to singles action again. Every time I see him, they stand next to the fucking big guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I see Randy and Riddle retaining the titles here, and they're eventually gonna lose them to somebody else. Who's the tag team who came over from SmackDown is going to Raw? Is it the
Street Profits are coming over to Raw?
Okay. Maybe them, but eventually it's going to lead to the Orton Riddle split, right? Which I think in essence is going to lead to it. If this doesn't happen, then this whole thing was a really fucking complete waste of time.
Yeah,
it goes back to the whole like yes no Kane Daniel Bryan thing.
Yeah,
how they were a fucking goofball tag team, but eventually that catapulted Daniel Bryan into being the star that he is today, right? So there's going to be a split. Hopefully Riddle will get more serious, stop riding the fucking scooter, start making the references to smoking the Chiba, and just get more serious and catapult him because he's a legitimate shooter and he can be a big star, right?
Yeah.
But it's that might happen here. But I'm going to go with Orton and Riddle because I just don't see the titles changing hands at this point. They're going to lose it to a tag team, a legitimate tag team, hopefully. And right now, I think on Raw, the only you can call legitimate tag team are the Street Profits, right? If they want to go that route. And then I think it's just time for, if they really want to make a change, it's just time for AJ Styles to go on his own again and be at the top of the card because they need it. They're going to need it. And Omos just isn't working out for anything. Like, there is no upside for Omos. I don't know what they don't. I think, man, I thought for a long time they're going to realize they fucked up and they were like, man, this guy Omos he's not progressing as he should. The other guy, Commander
Aziz.
Commander Weirdo is just
Commander Aziz
is just gonna, and they were gonna bring back Braun Strowman because they realized they fucked up with these guys. But no, I think it's just Randy Orton and Riddle retaining the titles, and then AJ going back to singles action, hopefully by Royal Rumble, and then almost going back wherever he came from, NXT or whatever. But yeah. Now's not the time, I don't think, for them to split them up. I think they're going to split them around WrestleMania.
It's interesting. I mean, and my line of thought is very much with yours. But it's if I'm going to stick my neck out, I'll say if AJ Styles and Omos win, then they can have the split of RK Bro, and maybe they'll push Randy Orton towards being a heel competitor to go against Big E as champion, because Big E could do with, some heel challengers. So yeah, and same way we are saying that could be AJ Styles. AJ Styles could be a heel challenger for Big E as well. So yeah, I mean, just for the sake of changing a title on this show, I'll go with AJ Styles and Omos as the winners. But yeah, it's kind of like much to do about nothing. Take it to the table, says here. Couldn't care less about the RK Bro match. Yeah, I think that's kind of how we all
finally
feel.
We agree on something.
I think that's how we all kind of feel with this one. But let's move on. Let's move on to what you were saying as well. One of the better built stories coming into this pay-per-view. And that's Seth Rollins versus Edge in the Hell in a Cell match. Finally, they're using Hell in a Cell for what it should be used for, as a blow-off for, feuds. I guess the only other misstep in this story is that both men, although it's a blow-off, one could say, both men are actually just been drafted over to Raw. So knowing WWE, they're bound to knock heads again. This won't be a blow off probably, but this is a story where Edge won the first match, then we saw Seth Rollins win the second one, and now here we are, Hell in a Cell. It's got the right amount of heat, not too much heat like back in the days. Back in the day, Hell in a Cell was well deserved. Like, these guys were about to kill each other if they weren't put in that cell. So it hasn't got that much heat, but enough heat in today's sphere of things. Myself, I'm going to go with an Edge win. I think, Edge has been the one that's kind of, especially in the recent weeks where we saw Seth Rollins go to Edge's house and all of that kind of stuff. Edge needs to get his revenge on Seth. I do think, though, we are going to get a tremendous match. This might be, match of the night, possibly. And I think with Seth Rollins and The Fiend last happening in Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins probably wants to do something to redeem himself, to get that, the Fiend blotch off his CV, of his resume, so to speak. And Edge has been very good in Hell in a Cells in the past. So yeah, looking forward to this match, but I think Edge is gonna win. What about yourself?
Yeah, well, they're both, like I said, they're both veterans. They both know what to do. Right? It's just like the story's just had some bumps, some hurdles here and there. And Seth Rollins' character, I think it's been off. I don't think it's the best representation of what he can do.
Yeah.
But as far as in-ring stuff, it has the potential to be good. But just like Seth Rollins mentioned on Austin's podcast, I don't know if you had a chance to watch it. It's up to one person on what happens in a match and what they want to do, and what let's compare what they want to do and what actually happens.
Yeah.
If they let these guys do what they want to do, I'm pretty sure it'll be good. But I see Seth Rollins coming out, and the only reason why I see Seth Rollins coming out on top, whether there be shenanigans or whatever, is he needs the momentum to catapult him to build a fucking heel for Big E.
Yeah.
If they want to keep Big E in that spot, then they have to have somebody hot or on fire. And right now, Rollins, he's got the one-ups, I think, storyline-wise on Edge in this feud. So he needs to win the match to get somebody ready for Big E. And Seth Rollins is perfect for it because he can cut the promos, right? He can do it in the ring. He can lead Big E in a good match. So if anything, if they want to build another top contender for him, that'd be Seth Rollins. So I predict that Rollins is going to come out on top, and he can be Big E's next challenger.
Yeah, that's a very good point you make, actually. Same what we were kind of talking about the tag teams of, releasing guys like Randy Orton and AJ Styles to be contenders for Big E. And if I'm correct, on the house show circuit, Seth Rollins has actually been doing some of the matches with Big E already. So they may just be getting ready for that program for TV. So so no, Seth Rollins, either way, like we're saying, if these guys are allowed to put on a great match, then this very well might be match of the night. Because
it could be a show stealer. When you got those two guys of that caliber in the ring, it has the potential to be a show stealer if they allow them to do what they want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's move on to something that surely won't be a show stealer. Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. Now, Bobby Lashley, I feel bad for Bobby Lashley because his championship reign came to somewhat of an abrupt end. I guess that always could happen when you've got the Money in the Bank contract. But yeah, losing there, then most likely losing to Goldberg. That's my prediction. Goldberg's going to get a win here. We do have the fact that this is a no-holds-barred match. It's a non-disqualification match. That might make it a bit more interesting, depending how far they wish to go. But we all know this match isn't going to be anywhere longer than 10 minutes, and that might be a stretch in itself. what's your thoughts on this match, this feud, in fact?
Well, it's just it goes to the limitations of what Goldberg can do, because he's in great shape, right? But he's over 50 years old. Now he has the bad knee, right? That's why they held off a little bit on the next match, I guess, or I don't know. But he has the bad knee. He needed surgery or something, or what have you, and he's over 50 years old. He can't wrestle to begin with. So they booked something like a no-holds-barred match because of the limitations of the competitors. That's why they do it most of the time. Yeah, he'll come out with a victory, and it won't count against Big E because it's a no-holds-barred match at a event that they're trying to make big, but won't really matter. So it doesn't really matter. It won't make Bobby look bad because everybody's gonna forget about it the day after it happened. So it won't matter. So it won't hurt Bobby Lashley. Goldberg will get a win. Nobody will see him for another year. Hopefully not. But I mean, it won't have you. I think it was too early to take the title out of Lashley. I think he could have gone as far as into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, I think given the story with Bobby Lashley choking out his son or what have you, then Goldberg's gonna get the win. But who cares, right?
Yeah, and I was saying to a friend the other day, like, how lame is it that you were choked out by a guy at SummerSlam, and now in October your dad is avenging you? Like, why has your dad taken so long? I'll be looking at my dad like, what's going on here? Like, are you gonna get revenge on? They could have done stuff in between, to sell the story that Goldberg was really after Bobby Lashley.
But you heard nothing of it until what, a week ago or two, maybe?
Yeah, it's like they've kept it kind of around, but it's just been like it's played secondary to Bobby Lashley losing his title to Big E.
Yeah.
If anything, they could have used Goldberg as a factor to make Bobby Lashley lose the title.
Yeah.
They didn't do any of that. Bobby Lashley, I just feel like, he loses the title, he loses here, Survivor Series, he probably won't be on that card because it's all about brand warfare and he doesn't even have a title or anything to defend. So unless he makes it into like the traditional 5-a-side match, but like it's just kind of downhill from here. He's not going to win the Royal Rumble.
Well, he's going to be where he was at before he won the title, which is kind of floating in the wind.
Yeah. Even Hurt Business, they've brought back Hurt Business, but they haven't told us why. It's been 2 weeks now. They haven't told us why they're back. After how he got rid of those guys as well, like
when they shouldn't have broken them up in the first place.
No, they shouldn't have broken them up in the first place. Yeah, so yeah, it's not looking great for Bobby Lashley right now.
No.
Matt Williams says, "Hope we get Lashley versus Goldberg with custody on a pole match." Custody of what? Exactly. Right. All right. Let's move on to the next match, and a match I'm looking forward to be completely fair. This is the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defending the title against Bianca Belaire and Sasha Banks. Now, I'm looking forward to this match for a multitude of reasons. Now, this will be the second women's match on the card. We can't talk about it too much, but the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown will obviously happen on this card as well. Obviously, right now, we don't know who's going to be in the finals for those, so we can't really talk about those. So we'll just stay to the kind of big matches announced. But this will be the second women's match. I think all in total, this will probably be the second or third ever women's match at a Saudi Arabia show. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how much time they give these ladies. For those that watched SmackDown this past week, obviously we saw Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. I thought that was a brilliant match. But I think there's a bit of a caveat here, which not a lot of people have talked about yet. Maybe people don't know. Bianca Belaire is facing Charlotte Flair for the Raw Championship on Monday. Now, yeah. So I can only assume, and we remember after this draft, as of Friday, after the show, after what's this show called? Crown Jewel. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belaire will be on Raw. Sasha Banks will be the only one on SmackDown. And Bianca Belaire is facing the Raw Women's Champion on Monday, 3 nights before Crown Jewel. Is Becky Lynch going to drop? Does the maths say that Becky Lynch is going to drop her title to Sasha Banks, as Sasha Banks is going to stay on SmackDown, and then Bianca Belaire beats Charlotte on Monday? So, you know, Becky will and Bianca will go over to Raw. Becky will be, I guess, chasing Bianca Belaire for the Raw title while Sasha's SmackDown champion. I might have lost you there in the maths, but I hope you get what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's a lot.
That's a lot to happen within a week. But that's to evade them doing the whole bullshit.
Just trading. Yeah.
Deal, which I wouldn't put him past them anyway.
Exactly. That's the thing.
I'll talk about the match first. The match, it's a 3-way. Those to me are always clusterfucks to begin with. First of all, they don't do it the way they're supposed to do it. The way you're supposed to do it, it's supposed to be a 3-way, but it's supposed to be an elimination. That way everybody gets beat, but they won't do that because every time they do something like this, a 3-way or 4-way, they're always trying to protect someone or everybody.
Yeah.
So anytime you put Sasha and Becky in the ring, it's gonna be a great match. Doesn't matter how many times you do it or whatever. I can watch Becky and Sasha, Becky and Charlotte, Sasha and Charlotte, whatever. Those three every week, you know, on every show or whatever. It's just gonna be a great match. But you add Bianca Belaire into the match. She's been doing okay. She's got some momentum behind her. They're trying to push her. She's got her attitude was kind of coming back. I didn't see all of SmackDown from Friday, but the week before she had some attitude and some oomph in her promo. That's good. She's progressing, but she's still green. And it's been like 2-3 times. She's kind of botched the move here and there, the power move, the lift, whatever. She doesn't know how to fucking do it yet. She's done it before, but go back to what Dustin Rhodes said, and a couple of talents have said that if you don't know how to do something, then don't do it. Don't do what you don't know how to do. She doesn't know how to do it yet. She has the strength to do it, but she dropped Sasha one time when she had her up here. She didn't press her. She dropped her. She's botched a couple of things, but she's still green. I think they're putting too much stock on her right now. I don't think now's her time either. They're just trying to make too many things too different at one time because the other shows got some momentum. So they're trying to push somebody too quick. I think it's just not her time right now. I think she's just still a little bit too green. Let's go back to your theory on the whole thing. Yeah, I can see that happening because, like I said, they're trying to negate them doing the whole let's just switch over the belts thing. But business is better when you have a top on fire heel as champion and the babyface chasing. I've always believed that, right? But now you're saying it go to the other way around where Becky will chase Bianca because Bianca's going to beat Charlotte on Monday.
That's what I think.
Becky will drop the title to Sasha, so she'll be on SmackDown. You know, I think right now they're trying to build Becky as the top heel, probably not only on the brand but in the company. And even though I disagree with it, she's coming off more of a tweener, I think, in my opinion, than anything else. Because I think it was a mistake from the beginning what they did. I think it's just be better to keep a veteran like Becky with the title, right? Because that's what they need. And just Bianca Belaire, she's just too green right now. I think they're putting much stock in her, and I don't think I'd have the faith in her and her carrying that name or that brand or that title, either Raw or on SmackDown. What do you think?
I don't agree with your Bianca Belaire sentiment. I think she is the best of the rest, and I think she is fitting in terms of star power with the rest of these top ladies. I mean, the horsewomen are the top of the card when it comes to women's division.
Yeah.
Bayley's injured. Bianca Belaire has basically slotted into that space. She is still very inexperienced. That's obvious. But I don't think she's doing anything in her performances that doesn't mean she shouldn't be up there. I think she's very much shown that she can obviously follow a match like WrestleMania, for example. Sasha Banks is obviously the ring general that's calling the shots in that match, and she's going along with it, and she's done everything she needed to do. And if you put her with experienced people like that, it negates everything you're saying, in terms of her messing up and stuff like that. Just put her with experienced people. Again, this is part of what you're saying is correct, though, that they're giving her a lot right now, but it's because they don't prepare anybody else. They don't prepare. Look at the likes of Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley was last in the Royal Rumble, just like Bianca Belair. Rhea Ripley won the title at WrestleMania, just like Bianca Belair. But
that's who should be in this match. That's who should be in this match.
Rhea Ripley's for me. Rhea Ripley is a big name. Like they've messed her up completely. They have completely messed her up. She's holding a tag team championship right now. Apparently, she lost the tag team championship this past weekend. I say lost. I think it was stolen from her. But yeah, this is someone that should be up there with Bianca Belair. If we had Asuka that was fit and ready and healthy to go, Asuka as well up there. But no one else is there. So right now, if you don't want to just see the horsewomen, that's why Bianca is the chosen one. And she's taken the ball and running with it, and she's doing a fairly good job in my opinion. But this whole situation with I don't want to see the trading thing at all, the trading of titles. So maybe this is the best way to get around it. And then,
you know what?
Go on.
I'll go. Here's my prediction, and I'll go with the out there because nothing fucking surprised me anymore about this. First of all, Rhea Ripley now has been playing with her little sister costume Halloween party. With that's fucking embarrassing to put somebody of that caliber, of her caliber. She just oozes charisma when she comes out, and she's great in the ring. I think the feud with her and Charlotte Flair could have been kind of like the female generational version of Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair back in the day, right? They could have had something like that. But anyway, I think I'm going to think outside the box here. Although with WWE, it's not really outside the box. I think you're right. I think Bianca Belair is going to win
on Monday.
The Raw Women's Championship on Monday. And I think she is going to take that title with her to Saudi Arabia, right? Because it's not going to happen it's going to happen right before Saudi Arabia, correct?
Yeah.
And I think Becky is going to win the Smackdown match, the championship.
So you think Becky's going to retain that?
And I think Becky is going to win. And you know what? I think that WWE is going to pull more bullshit. And on Monday Night Raw, we're going to see Becky and Belair title for title on Monday Night Raw, and Becky's going to be Becky 2 belts again. Because why not? Because it's fucking WWE, and they can change whatever they want because the draft doesn't matter, and this brand split shit doesn't matter.
I mean, I won't put it past WWE to do something like that, to be completely honest. Matt Williams says here in the chat, hard to be seen as a viable threat to the title when you lose in less than 30 seconds at the biggest show of the year. What they done to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, I'm still not over it because that's someone that you built for so long, a new star that you had actually built, a babyface champion that was getting over, and you threw it all away just for Becky's return, which I understand you make moments, but it wasn't the way to do it. And he also says 100% agree with the Rhea and Nikki Ash thing. You brought anyone with a joke like that and they start to become a joke. Rhea Ripley, I mean, ever since she lost the NXT title to Charlotte, it's just not been good for her at all. And it's a shame because NXT UK, NXT, she was big shit. Like she was literally like someone that you thought, she has the stature, she goes to the main roster, she has the character, they will print money with her. But
for a while, excuse me, I'm sorry, for a while she was her and probably Damian Priest were probably the only reasons why I would watch NXT, at least for a little while. And Bronson Reed, I really liked, but I mean, they just, and as soon as they gave her the championship when she came up to the main roster, I'm like, damn, this was just too soon, too fast, and it cooled her jets down. So that was that. Fuck.
Desperate. It was very desperate. Let's move on. WWE Championship on the line. Big E is defending it against Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, that is after Crown Jewel. Whether he wins or loses, we'll be moving over to SmackDown. This is obvious. This is obviously the first name that Big E is going to get a good defense over. Drew's not going to win that title and take it to SmackDown. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And for someone that, you know, is so desperate to win the championship, you know, he complained, you know, that he can't go after Bobby Lashley when Bobby Lashley was champion because of the stipulation they made. I would like to think there would have been more heat here going after Big E, like more kind of crazy, I need this title, I need the title. And it's maybe just because he's going to the other brand, that's why they haven't kind of went full pelt with that. But yeah, this is literally just it might as well be an exhibition match where Big E retains this championship. Yeah,
it's a cold match, no heat. I think this would have been a great vehicle to start Drew McIntyre's heel run, because I just think he's better as a heel. I think the babyface, I think he's cooled down. I think they lost confidence in him. I don't blame him, because I just don't think everything he just does when he has promos, it just sounds so, his delivery is just so scripted. And then the sword deal and the kilt and this and that. And then he lost the title. He lost to Bobby Lashley. And then it would have been okay if they would have kept him somewhere on top of the card. But then they had him with Jinder Mahal. And it's just, damn, the mighty have fallen. And I think they just lost confidence in him, and the only thing that they would have been able good for them to do was to redeem him, was give him a heel run, and I think this would have been a great vehicle for them to do that, because I just think he's just a better heel. Yeah, it's a much ado about nothing match. It's just filler. It's just to put that championship and Big E on the card, right? And that's all it really is.
Yeah, I've just seen a comment from Take It to the Table. He says, such a pointless match, makes you think, why did they do the draft in the first place? I always say this. The draft is just in the wrong place in the calendar. Like, I don't mind the two brands. I don't mind the draft. But this draft seems like something that should be more or less straight after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You do the blow-offs for all the feuds of the year and stuff at WrestleMania. You know, Monday Night Raw, maybe you can make that like a showcase exhibition dream match kind of scenario or something like that. Debut your new guys onto the roster, and then maybe from the SmackDown or Monday Night Raw after that, you do the draft, because that it makes sense. All the stories have now the stories are finished, the chapters have been closed, but you're here doing it in the middle of the year. Like having matches, and the next week someone's going to move over, and then 2 weeks after that it's Survivor Series and you're fighting for the brand that you loved when you just arrived there. How does it make sense?
I think they do it because they want people to have something to look forward to in the fall, because of sweeps. All the new shows and everything start here in America around this time, so they want something to boost the ratings a little bit to both shows, probably. But yeah, what you're saying makes more sense, and that's probably why they don't do it, because it makes sense to everybody else, but it doesn't make sense to them. But yeah, that'd be, closed down. Everything culminates at WrestleMania. You have the draft, fresh faces, somewhat fresh faces, fresh feuds. Yeah, people moving up from NXT, so forth and so on. Even though I think the people that moved up was kind of weird and strange, the picks that they made. Yeah. But yeah, it makes more sense. The draft. I agree with you 100%. The draft's just misplaced in the calendar year.
Yeah, maybe even, since you're saying later in the year, maybe even after SummerSlam would be a better time. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, it really does mess with everything and everything they're planning. I was even saying to someone the other day, King of the Ring, like if they made King of the Ring like a proper tournament, week to week, a bit longer with more participants. All this lazy booking that they're doing, they actually don't have to do it, because if you have a tournament, it books itself. You don't have to put together stupid stories, but instead they're doing what they're doing. So yeah, Big E, this will be a good first match for him. Could be a good match. He retains the title. But let's talk about the match. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Now, as it stands, Paul Heyman has pledged his allegiance to Roman Reigns, and he's still acting as the counsel, the wise man to the tribal chief, whilst Brock Lesnar is having so much fun messing with Roman Reigns. I thought what they did on Friday on SmackDown was absolute genius in terms of just on so many levels. Obviously, it started with the Roman reading or telling Paul Heyman to read through the contract, and Paul Heyman told him it's fine to sign. Roman signs it without reading it, and then Roman laughs when he sees Brock Lesnar sign the contract without reading it, calls him a dumbass, a dumbass farmer, and says, who signs a contract without reading it? To be fair, he didn't read it himself. He got someone to read it for him, but yeah. And then Brock Lesnar says, I already read the contract this morning with my advocate, Paul Heyman. The fact that, you know, this is a different kind of Brock Lesnar we're seeing, because he hasn't got Paul Heyman by his side per se. He's a lot more relaxed. He's not that intense run into the ring, suplex, you know, anyone that I've got a match coming up against Brock Lesnar. He's having a lot of fun. He's just kicking back and just watching Roman squirm at every opportunity. I expect Roman Reigns to retain here. But do you think there is something that we're going to see between Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar? Do you think there is something there, or you think it's Brock literally just pulling Roman's leg here?
Well, I'll say a couple of things first. That first of all, this is the only thing that makes sense out of this whole fucking show. This is what's going on here. The only thing that's done well, makes sense, and it's all because of Paul Heyman. And I'll say this before we go into it. Let's make a rule that we can't, as far as our highlight of the week that comes at the end of the show, we can't pick Paul Heyman anymore, because anything if he does something on SmackDown, it's the fucking highlight of the week, because he's just a genius. Anything he does is great. That promo he did, not this week, but the week before, Roman made him turn to the camera, and then at the end, he bows down in praise. Oh, man, just anything he fucking does. Why this guy doesn't get an Academy Award or something, that people aren't paying attention because they're not part of the Screen Actors Guild or whatever the fuck is, man. Anyways, let's get to the match, and the storyline is just, you know, man, there's an inkling that there's a big part of me that wants to agree with you that Roman's gonna keep the title, but there's just that little inkling in me that's just, man, this fucking Brock's gonna take this title off of Roman.
I've got it too,
and I won't be mad at it, just because the whole thing's just been put together so well, and it's just good. It's just all around. It's just fucking great, because you know what? You kind of predicted, or sometime weeks back ago or something, that McIntyre is going to go to SmackDown, and he is, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to be the one to take the title off of Roman. To me, that would just be so fucking flat. I just don't know. I'm tired of it already. I'm tired of McIntyre and his whatever they're doing with him. It's just so flat, that with everything that they've built up to this point, with this storyline, this match, and if they really do want Saudi Arabia to be a big event this year and going forward, then they'll have a big title change here. So I'm going to make a prediction that Brock is going to take that title off of Roman Reigns, and I won't be mad. I'll encourage it.
I won't be mad at either, because I think they've done it right. Like the story and everything, the performance, like you said, from Paul Heyman along this whole way has been brilliant. So I definitely wouldn't be mad. Roman Reigns is my guy, but I won't be mad at it.
And I don't think people give Brock Lesnar
the credit
that he deserves. Brock Lesnar does business, and he's good at what he does. You know, he knows wrestling. He knows what to do. He knows how to act. He knows the mannerisms, the way he needs to do. No, he's not the best promo, but what he does well. And, you know, he doesn't need a mouthpiece all the time. He's the beast.
Yeah.
You know, he just goes in there and kicks ass. He's a legitimate shooter. So, and they let him do that. They're not going to tell fucking Brock Lesnar what to do. You know, Brock Lesnar can be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out of here because I don't need the money. You know, So he's one of the very few guys that can do that. But I mean, yeah, I think if they really want to make this Saudi show big and they want to make it big going forward, we're gonna have the big title change. Man, I see Brock Lesnar taking this title off of him, man. And I'm like I said, I wouldn't be mad because he's a legitimate shooter. He's a legitimate threat. You know, we haven't seen him with the title for a while. It's another story to build around somebody else chasing the title for him. It's not going to hurt Roman Reigns at all, right? They can still have Roman be Roman. And maybe, who knows? I know some people were saying that the big match with Rock and Reigns wasn't going to happen until Hollywood.
Yeah.
If they want to fill that stadium in Dallas in April, which will fit 100,000 or more, they might be building to do that match then. Who knows?
I mean, like you said, if Brock wins on Thursday, I am not angry at all. I will not be mad. But yeah, like I said, I've still got my. I think they want to make Roman the longest reigning Universal Champion ever. That's one thing, and that's Brock's record. He's gonna have to beat to do that. So I think he's maybe about 100 days away or so from doing that. I do think that if we are getting, I say we, us in the UK, if we're going to get a SummerSlam in the UK next year, which is what's rumored, that is Drew's crowning moment. So I do think Drew will pin Roman, and Roman has to be the person you pin for that title because he's a massive name at this point. I do agree, maybe somewhere in between, like he could probably drop the belt to Brock, win it back, and then lose to Drew sometime next year. That could happen as well. But this is how it should be.
That would be the 30-year anniversary, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
SummerSlam.
Yeah.
With Brett and Baby Boy.
Bulldog. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a point there. That'd be good.
Yeah. But yeah, like we're saying, you know, us looking at it, we've got a good story. We've got a third party in Paul Heyman, which we don't really know who he belongs to on this side. We've got two legitimate guys in Roman and Lesnar. This is how we should feel about matches in this company. Like, you don't know who's gonna win. You don't mind who's gonna win because the story's been so good. But it's a feeling that we don't get enough at all.
Absolutely, yes.
But yeah, like you said, this is Crown Jewel. This match is Crown Jewel, and everything else is just whatever kind of until we get to this match on the card. So it's going to be very interesting, you know.
And what time, real quick? What time is that appearing on your neck of the wood?
5 o'clock in the evening for us, 5 p.m.
Okay, so then that would be noon, I guess, for us.
Yeah, you're Pacific,
watch
right?
It later, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 12. 5 will be 12 Eastern. So I think is it earlier than that for you guys?
Maybe at 11.
Okay.
11. I'll be busy, but I mean, yeah, I'll watch it later. But that's really I'll fast forward the whole thing and just watch the fucking main event.
I mean, it's gonna be everywhere. So yeah, if you don't watch it first, you might run into some spoilers. But yeah. Quickly though, that's Crown Jewel. Before we get out of here today, let's do our highlights of the week. I will go with Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson. I thought that match was incredible. Like, just two guys just doing wrestling, like real shit. Like,
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, you may know who won, or you may be able to guess who won.
Yeah, I don't care. But I mean, like,
yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, so
it was very good. I've watched it twice. I've watched it twice since Friday.
Was it that good? Good?
I thought so.
Because I was like, damn, can't fucking New Japan send anybody who's not fucking eligible for AARP over here? Fuck, damn. I mean, I respect Suzuki tremendously, what he's done for wrestling and the MMA world, and I know he was kind of part of that deal with what was it, Pancrase or what have you? As far as back when New Japan and Inoki was trying to do the thing with the MMA and wrestling, just didn't fucking work out. But I mean, that was their darker days. But I mean, I'll go back and watch it because, like, damn, it's a shit. I mean, this got a 50-year-old man in the ring.
It's your kind of match. It's your kind of match. You'll enjoy it.
All right, so I'll check it out. I'll let you know. But
Yeah. I think for me that's my highlight of the week. Obviously it was just happened the other day, but just a brilliant match. If not, I would have probably went with the ladies on SmackDown. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch was phenomenal as well. So good Friday night matches. What about yourself? Any highlights?
Well, yeah, I'll get away from Becky and Sasha because it's like I said, it's if they're on the card, they're gonna have if not the best match, the second best match. So I'll get away from that, right? And I'll go with you mentioned earlier, Aleister Black and Dante Martin. I thought they had a good match because Martin, and I don't like the flip floppity fuck you shit, but I mean it's just it's different with him. It's different. It's because when they talk about it's a bunch of high risk maneuvers. He'll do something and he sells it like fuck. All right, I did a dive, but I landed on my shoulder. Fuck, oh man, or my knee. My knee. I did a high risk maneuver, but high risk, high reward, and so forth. But also I'm putting a risk on my body, and he'll do something and he'll sell it. His facials, his mannerisms. Yeah. I would like for him to get away from too much of the springboard bullshit like a lot of guys do. Not only because I don't think it's believable, but it's because fuck, these guys can get hurt. And now more than ever, you hear guys about surgeries and neck injuries and operations and this and that. And fuck, just go back. And I was kind of surprised they showed it. For those of you who watch Dark Side of the Ring, the injury with Hayabusa and shit, that if you don't go back and watch that was fucking terrible.
It's crazy.
But I mean, I'd hate to see something like that happen. But this guy, he makes it look real. He doesn't do something and then pop up right away. And he sells. He's good. And Aleister Black, of course, being the veteran he is, led the match. It was a good match. It was good. I like Dante. But this could have been a good avenue for him to say, because I know afterward they did a promo a half hour later or something into the show that Lio Rush is going to be his partner now, which I think Leo's a better promo than he is a wrestler because his style. But I mean, I don't like it. But I mean, I think he's a better. But I think this would have been good for them to say, you know what, Dante, come out and say, you know what, I think I need to go back to my basics. I think I need to visit another style or do more of a hybrid kind of technique. I need to go back into the gym, and Leo needs to take me back into the gym and show me the basics, show more of a technical skill, yada, yada, yada. That way he turned into just a high flyer, into a hybrid wrestler, and he comes back more technically sound. I would have liked to have seen them take that avenue or do that with some high flyer that I actually like seeing, like Dante. But anyway, that was my highlight of the week. They had a good match. I have high hopes for Dante.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be very interesting, obviously, with Leo tagging with him when his brother Darius is actually fit and healthy to return. They've already started playing that up online, apparently. Apparently, Darius is tweeting, like, what's going on here or something like that. So, that could be very fun. But, guys, we have went even over our time today. Had a really good show, talked about our predictions for Crown Jewel. So hopefully that's a pretty decent show midweek. But yeah, that is today's show. Thank you guys for joining us. Everyone that joined us live in the chat and everyone that's going to watch this back. Thank you very much. Please remember to smash the like button. Subscribe to Wrestling Republic as well on YouTube, and we'll be back same time next week. Ignacio, any last words?
No, sir. Let's just look forward to Crown Jewel, and hopefully that main event is on fire, man. And for you guys, just smash the like button, subscribe to Wrestling Republic, and be on the lookout for my next article.
Yes, coming soon. But yeah, we are looking forward to that main event of Crown Jewel. So we hope you guys will join us for our reactions to it next week, Sunday. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we are out.